If an avoidant does any of these 7 things, it might just mean they love you. They just don't know how to love you the way you want. Yet, 1, they come back after pulling away. Disconnection is their defense. Reconnection is their confession. Let's talk about that moment. The silence, the ghosting, the sudden emotional distance that hits you like a gut punch out of nowhere. And then they come back out of the blue. A text, a call, a soft reach for your attention like nothing happened. And you're standing there thinking, you left me. Why are you here? Because this is how avoidants love, awkwardly, indirectly, painfully. See, when an avoidant pulls away, it's not always rejection. Sometimes it's regulation. They're overwhelmed, not with you, but with what you stir inside of them. Intimacy feels like fire to someone who never got burned the right way. So they disappear, not because they don't care, but because they care too much and don't know what to do with it. But the real truth, they come back, they circle back, even after days, weeks, sometimes months of silence, they return. And not because they want to manipulate you, not because they're trying to play games, because they're conflicted, because their heart is louder than their fear just for a moment, because some part of them believes in the safety you give. And that right there, that return, that's not just a text message. That's not just, I was thinking of you. That's, I love you, but I don't know how to say it without trembling. But here's what I want to be real clear about. Their return is not your responsibility. It's not your job to hold the door open forever. It's not your job to become a sanctuary for someone who won't stay. But if they come back, know this. They felt something, and that something shook them. 2, they remember the little things. An avoidant may struggle with closeness, but they pay attention when they care. You ever talk to someone and months later they mention something small you said in passing? That random childhood memory, that coffee order, the song you said reminded you of your dad, the way your voice cracks when you're about to cry but don't want anyone to know. Listen to me, avoidants. They're masters of withdrawal, but when they love you, they notice you in ways even you forget. They might not say, I love you, with big declarations, but they say it in how they notice. That's love. That's vulnerability wearing armor. Because to remember someone's details, to observe their soul, that's presence. And presence is intimacy. And intimacy is what scares the hell out of them, yet they do it anyway. So when they remember, it means they care. It means they listened, even when they looked distracted, even when they seemed cold, even when their body was somewhere else, their attention was with you. But don't mistake this for enough. Let me be clear. Noticing is not nurturing. Remembering is not committing. But it is a sign that there is depth in their distance. A sign that they see you, even if they're not ready to stand beside you. 3, they open up, but only briefly. With an avoidant, vulnerability is a blink, but it's real. You ever have a moment with them that felt like the sun came out? One night, one conversation, one moment where they dropped their guard and you saw them, the real them, the little kid inside the adult body, the one who's afraid, the one who wants love but doesn't trust it. And then, just like that, they close back up again. It hurts, I know. You thought the door finally opened and you were about to walk through together, but now it's like nothing ever happened. And you're wondering if you imagined the whole thing. You didn't. When an avoidant loves you, they will open up, not always often, not always consistently, but they will. And that moment of honesty, that story they told you that nobody else knows, that quiet tear they wiped away hoping you didn't see, that's love. Not the kind we're taught to expect, not the Hollywood kind, but the real, raw, terrifying kind that says, I want you to know me, but I'm terrified you'll leave if you do. So they give you a piece, just a piece. But don't chase the next one. If you have to beg someone to stay open, you're not in a relationship, you're in a rescue mission. But if they offered you truth even once, know this, it meant everything to them. 4, they get jealous quietly. Avoidants won't admit they care, but they'll act like they do. They won't say it. They won't confront it. They won't ask, who's that guy? Or are you seeing someone? But their energy shifts. They go colder, shorter texts. They cancel that FaceTime. They get more busy. And you're thinking, what happened? You got close to someone else and they noticed. And jealousy isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Avoidants don't always express desire. They suppress it. But suppression doesn't mean absence. It means fear. So they sit in silence while their insides burn. They pretend it doesn't matter while their chest tightens at the thought of you slipping away. They act calm when they're actually devastated. That's love, miswired. Jealousy, in avoidance, doesn't come out as rage, it comes out as retreat. They distance because they don't want to feel replaceable, but they also don't know how to fight for you without fighting themselves. So if they suddenly pull back after seeing you with someone else, if they shut down right after someone else shows you attention, that silence is screaming. It's saying, I want you. I just don't know if I'm allowed to say it. 5, they try to fix themselves alone. They love you enough to want to grow, but they don't trust love enough to let you help. Let me hit you with this truth bomb. Avoidants know they're avoidant. They know they push good people away. They know they run from love. They know they overthink every text, every feeling, every hug that lingers too long. And when they love you, they want to be better. But here's the kicker. They don't ask for help. Because help means dependency. And dependency triggers their deepest fear. Being trapped, being vulnerable, being seen. So instead, they'll disappear to work on themselves. They'll go silent under the guise of self-improvement. And it's true, they are trying, but they're trying alone. And not because they don't want you beside them, but because they don't know how to let you stay without feeling like they're losing themselves. That self-sabotage, that isolation in the name of healing, it's a twisted kind of love. It's, I want to be better for you, but I don't know how to let you love me while I do it. So if you ever hear them say, I just need space to figure myself out, know this. That might be the most loving sentence they know how to say. 6, they show up when it matters, even if it's hard. They fear connection, but love pushes them through the fear. Avoidants will miss birthdays. They'll dodge conversations. They'll ghost parties and gatherings because closeness feels like claustrophobia. But then, your mom gets sick. You lose your job. You're crying at 2 a.m. And suddenly they're there, clumsy, awkward, uncertain, but present. They show up not because it's easy, but because you matter. That's love. Not the loud kind, the brave kind. Because the truth is, when an avoidant cares, they will cross the wires of their own defense mechanisms to make sure you're not alone. They won't always get it right. They'll say the wrong thing. They'll fidget, look away, keep the hug short. But they showed up. And for them, that is a miracle. Don't overlook it. Don't over-romanticize it either. But recognize it. It means something. 7, they push you away because they're falling too hard. The stronger the love, the stronger the fear. And sometimes that fear wins. Let me tell you something that hurts like hell but frees you. If they pushed you away right after getting close, if everything was beautiful, and then suddenly they ran, that was love. Distorted, terrifying, paralyzing, but real. Because for someone with an avoidant attachment, love feels like danger, like dependency, like risk, like losing control. So when they felt the connection deepen, their first instinct wasn't to hold tighter, it was to run. Not because they didn't care, but because they cared so much it overwhelmed them. You didn't mess up. You didn't say the wrong thing. You didn't ruin it. What you did was matter. And that mattering woke up every defense mechanism they had. So yes, it hurts deeply. But know this, sometimes the push away is proof of the pull-in they felt. Let me tell you a story. It's not a fairy tale. It's not wrapped in happy endings or tied with a red ribbon. It's messy, human, real. It's about me. I met someone who lit me up from the inside out. It wasn't fireworks, it was quieter than that. It was the kind of connection that crept in when I wasn't looking. It wasn't instant obsession, it was comfort, safety, a strange, beautiful peace I didn't expect. But every time I got close, they'd flinch. Every time I'd lean in, they'd lean out. It was like trying to hold smoke in my hands. 1 minute, we were talking about everything, dreams, fears, childhood memories we hadn't even told ourselves yet, and the next, they'd vanish. No explanation, no closure, just gone. You ever been there? It's like emotional whiplash. You don't know whether to cry or scream or beg. You start questioning your worth, wondering if you imagined the whole thing, asking yourself over and over, what did I do wrong? And the worst part? When they finally come back, you don't even ask for answers. You just accept it because you miss them more than you respected your own boundaries. I remember one night, I told them something I'd never told anyone. I was open, raw, vulnerable. I thought this was it the moment everything changed. The next morning, silence. No call, no text, nothing. They disappeared for 2 weeks. I wish I could say I walked away, blocked them, held my head high. But I didn't. I waited. I checked my phone nonstop, replayed every word, wondered what I did wrong. And when they finally texted, I didn't ask why. I just said, hey, because their silence felt better than mine. That's what it's like, loving an avoidant. But then something shifted. I asked myself, why do I keep choosing people who don't choose me back? The answer? Because that's how I learned love. Unsteady, unsafe, conditional. I was repeating the pattern. And suddenly it wasn't about them. It was about me. Avoidants aren't the enemy. They're scared. They learned that love means loss. That closeness is danger. That emotions are threats. So when they met me, someone open, loving it felt unsafe. They ran. But their running wasn't about my worth. Read that again. Their avoidance wasn't about me. And it's not about you either. I stopped waiting that night. Not because I stopped loving, but because I started healing. Love isn't something you earn. You don't beg for it. You don't squeeze it from someone who can't give it. Real love stays. Even when it's hard. Some avoidance can get there. But not if you're doing all the work. Not when your heart bleeds while theirs hides. If you're loving someone avoidant, if you're waiting for them to figure it out, if your soul is starving while you're feeding theirs, step back. Not to punish, not to manipulate, but to come home to yourself. You deserve more than crumbs. And that voice in your head, the one whispering, what if I'm wrong? What if they never come back? What if I scared them away? That voice isn't truth. It's fear dressed as logic. It's the echo of every time you had to earn love. You want clarity. You want closure. You want to know it was real. Because avoidance feels like screaming into silence. But here's the truth. Love isn't always loud. And your value doesn't depend on someone else's ability to express it. If they love you but aren't ready, that's their mountain. It's not your job to drag them up the hill. You can't force readiness. You can't make them drop their armor. They have to choose to show up. They have to want you and the work. So yes, I know you're hoping. Hoping patience will make them stay. But love isn't measured by waiting. It's measured by how you love yourself and how bravely you walk away from what loves you halfway. You've shown up. You've loved hard. Now it's time to love yourself. Because the ache you feel when they ghost, when they hide, when they shut down, that's not your failure. That's the space they need to heal. Let them have it. Let them go if they need to. And if they come back, if they've done the work, not with excuses, but with accountability, then meet them there. But don't wait for it. Don't build your worth on their timeline. You're not broken because they couldn't hold you. You're not unworthy because they left. You're not unlovable because love scared them. You are the light that shook them, the stability they didn't believe in, the healing they didn't think they deserved. Now it's time to give all that to you. Because here's what I've learned. You don't need closure from them. You need commitment from you. Commit to the truth, to your growth, to building a life where you don't wait to be chosen. You are chosen enough, whole, right now. So next time that voice of doubt rises, speak truth. I'm not crazy for loving deeply. I'm not weak for wanting connection. I'm not broken because they pulled away. I'm worth even if they couldn't see it. Let that be your anthem, your healing, your freedom. Now it's your turn. You've cried the tears. You've asked the hard questions. Now, choose you. Choose the version of you that doesn't shrink, that doesn't beg, that doesn't wait in the shadows. Choose the one who walks in the light. Still soft, still open, but no longer available for half-loves. Because if they truly love you, they'll come find you on the other side of their fear. Not because you chased, but because you stopped. And if they never do, you didn't lose love. You lost someone who wasn't ready. That's not a tragedy. That's freedom. So stop rehearsing pain. Stop living in silence. Stop shrinking to fit inside their fear. Write a new story where your love is a gift, not a gamble. Where your softness is power. Where your worth isn't a question, it's the answer. Let them go if they can't stay. Let them love you from afar. But you stay with you because the bravest thing you'll ever do is love yourself enough to walk away from confusion, even when your heart wants to stay. And maybe your courage will be the mirror they can't avoid. But even if not, you win. Because the moment you stop waiting to be chosen is the moment you choose yourself. And that's when everything changes.